restorative justice programs. Because we know the work is not in the sentence. It's in correcting the behavior that sent the person to be incarcerated. So they need that encouragement by being in restorative programs. Through our conversations with state lawmakers, we decided to address extensive sentencing in Illinois instead to better tackle the problem of excessive sentencing. We know a sentencing reform campaign to address excessive sentencing in Illinois could potentially be long-term, but we've decided the benefits of reformation for people sentenced as violent offenders who will be returning to our communities are worth the fight. And I agree. A majority of the individuals currently incarcerated in Illinois and across the country are people of color who have been convicted of violent crimes, many of which who carry long sentences and are subject to truth in sentencing. Addressing these mandatory lengthy sentences will significantly reduce the prison population and return individuals to their families and communities sooner. This will be a huge effort, and we will need your help to advocate for this reform. So I just wanted to talk to you all for a quick second, like directly from the heart, because I'm more than just a voice that's coming here speaking on what we have going on. Just as all my colleagues that came up, as I stated, we brought our mind, bodies, and soul here, and for the majority of us that's in this room, we are wounded healers. It's a reason that we're here today, because of things that we witnessed in life, and we took it upon ourselves to say that this has to stop. And as the message has been perpetuated today, we're not waiting for anybody else to come in and make this change for us. We're making the change right now. And for me, yes. And for me, this is also personal, because I'm not just speaking these words. I've lived these words. I was incarcerated for 10 years at Menard Correctional Center for an attempted murder case. My mother was incarcerated for 32 years at the White and Dixon Correctional Facility for murder. Together, we have served over 43 years. My family, in just 2 generations, has given over 100 years to the P-Now Correction Center here in Illinois. And my message today is that it's not just the time that will rehabilitate someone, because we know, any criminologist will tell us that it's the poverty in our communities, the lack of jobs, and broken family structures that bring down our communities and have men going back to prison over and over and over again. The recidivism rate in Illinois is at 66%, not because people don't want to be free, because they don't have options when they do become free and let out of incarceration. So what happens during that time, after they sit inside a cell like I did for 10 years and said, I want to go home, what happens to them? So what I'm saying is everyone has to be involved. We have to have what's called an aha moment. And I had mine while I was in prison, because I had to think about the harm that I did to my community. I'm not just asking for prison reform to happen without those who have committed crimes making change within themselves. And my aha moment came from my mother writing a letter to the warden at Menard Correctional Center. The officer called me to the office. I sat down and the warden asked me, do you know a Noreen Cook? And I said, yes. And it still brings tears to my eyes when I talk about it now, because we talked about the love of a mother, what she's willing to do for her son. And after serving 21 years in prison, my mother wrote a letter to the warden and asked, could he put the rest of my time on my mother's sentence so her son can go home? This is why I've been sent to speak to you today, because it's my soul, it's my life. And I got a 12-year sentence, but because of truth in sentencing, at 85%, I have to serve a decade of my life. My first time ever committed offense. And I am a United States Marine, a person who has signed up to protect this country, and I did it faithfully, but it's just so hurtful to be a person who signed up for a military branch of a first-class nation, but to come home and be treated like a third-class citizen. And one of my favorite books, The Pedagogy of the Oppressed, given to me by my brother, Dr. Kirk James, it says that no one person can be totally humane while stopping somebody else from being the same. It's inclusion over exclusion, and we have to work on that. So I made it my duty not to just sit in prison and go to the yard and lift weights, but to think about what were some of the traps that I fell prey to when I was home. And I call them my 3 F's. These are the things that my young youth, our young youth, are willing to give their lives for. Friends, family, and finances. We don't have the skill set in order to deal with those because of the historical trauma through the transatlantic slave trade. We have not recuperated from that. And to get an understanding how traumatic historical trauma can be, just imagine a NASCAR race starting, and for the first 100 laps, for the first 200 laps, for the first 300, 400 years, laps, your car couldn't move. And you just watched people lap you. This is what we're dealing with today. Ask anybody. You can ask Dale Earnhardt Jr. It's hard to make up 400 laps. It's extremely hard. So we need all hands on deck. This is what we're dealing with. So we need to put the families back together. Let's take the money out of sanctioning and put the money back into our treatment and our reform.